So last week I uploaded a video going over 20 monster taming games that were either coming to or were currently out for the Nintendo Switch. Now, that said, I asked the community to let me know in the comments which games they're specifically excited for and what other games they could find for the Switch. And let me just say, oh boy, did you guys deliver. So I just wanted to say thank you so much to the community because now we have 10 more monster taming games to talk about. That said, if you haven't checked out the previous video, I highly recommend you do because it has some really solid games in my opinion. Anyways, let's dive right in. First up on the list, and the most requested one, was Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth Complete Edition, which features both Cyber Sleuth games, being the original and Hacker's Memory. These Digimon titles have you engaging in 3v3 turn-based combat, a wide variety of Digimon to collect and evolve, a story-driven campaign, and solid design overall. This title has become a staple for most monster taming fans, and I definitely plan on covering it at some point in our Monster Tamer Classic segment, so definitely stay tuned for that. Snack World is a dungeon-crawling RPG with a bit of a light-hearted, comedic twist. The game is set in the kingdom of Fruity Tooty, alongside several food-based locations. The game is full of various puns for its characters and enemies, and honestly just seems like a whole lot of fun. The monster taming elements within the game come from the ability to recruit one of any of the 150 monsters to your team. The game has real-time combat and sort of reminds me of Relegends combat in that the monsters act as your companions and can be leveled up from a top-down view. This game was released last year, so you can definitely pick it up right now if you're interested. Now, if you had watched that previous video that I had mentioned earlier, then you would have seen Siralim Ultimate on the list. However, that game is currently not out yet, and if you're truly yearning for a Siralim experience on the Switch, then you could pick up Siralim 3, which is currently out. Much like Ultimate, the game features hundreds of monsters that can be summoned and battled with, a seemingly endless amount of procedurally generated realms to explore, gods to appease, and more. Much like any game in the Siralim franchise, this dungeon crawler essentially holds within it an infinite amount of gameplay, as there are no level caps and never-ending areas to explore and loot. Eternal Exodus is a monster taming RPG inspired by the Shin Megami Tensei franchise. This game is actually one of the biggest reasons I decided to make a sequel to the previous video. Here you wake up in the strange world of the afterlife that sets you out on a journey to conquer hell itself. In doing so, you'll have to acquire a team comprised of a few of the 150 available demons and command them to victory. The game also features a fusion system, a beautiful pixel art style, and more complex battle mechanics, having more monsters on the field at once than your typical taming game. The current release window for this game is Q4 of this year. The next game is more of a Mon Light, or a game with monster taming elements rather than a full-fledged tamer, depending on who you ask, but that's Ark Survival Evolved. Now, I'm gonna say it here, there have been quite a few complaints about this game as it does not run very well on the Nintendo Switch because the Switch has much less powerful hardware. However, it has been quite some time since its initial release, and I have seen some people saying that there have been some improvements since. That said, Ark is by nature a survival game which will have you build your base, gather resources, tame and battle dinosaurs amongst other creatures, and get PK'd by everyone unless you're on a private server. That said, the most recent expansion pass is also on the way, so there's that to look forward to as well. Witchery Academy is a game we recently covered during our Monster Tamer news segment, and is a bit of a different concept. In this game, you're in a wizard school learning various spells, incantations, etc. Through this, you can actually tame these spell monsters, and I'm assuming utilize them for other day-to-day activities. The game features farming, cooking, relationship building, and more, and functions as a life sim, with the obvious caveat being that it's in a magical world. The game currently does not have a set release window for Switch, however, I'll make sure to keep you guys updated on all its major news moving forward. Now, a very cute and very Eastern monster taming RPG is Taiko no Tatsujin Rhythmic Adventure Pack, which includes TNT Rhythmic Adventure 1 and 2. These games will have you play as this drum thing, and has you time traveling around, battling with monsters, and meeting some interesting characters as well. Now, this game differs from other monster taming games in that it features a rhythm-based battle system focused around drumming, which seems like sort of a more simple version of the Guitar Hero or Rock Band drum set. This game also features over 250 catchable monsters, and if you're a fan of the more traditional TNT games, they also have a rhythm-only mode as well. This game is currently available, so if you're looking for a very different monster taming experience, feel free to check it out in the eShop. Now for this next game, unfortunately we don't have a set release date yet, and given the radio silence of the localization team, a lot of people are assuming it may never make its way to the West. However, I still wanted to mention it here because there is a small glimmer of hope, but that's Yokai Watch 4. Now Yokai Watch 4, much like other games in the franchise, is an RPG surrounded around catching and battling various yokai, these ghost creatures with pretty funny design. Now for me, the franchise was actually the first ever Pokemon competitor I had taken note of, and years before I actually got into the monster taming community, and I was initially put off by some of the designs, but looking over it now, it actually looks like a lot of fun. The game has some crazy looking battles reminding me of Ni no Kuni, and the game overall just looks amazing. Apparently an English translation is in the works, however it'll only translate the words and not the voice track itself, which I'm totally fine with. The reason for this is apparently most of Level 5's team has moved on. I'm the type of person that played Naruto Ultimate Ninja 3 with the Japanese voice track, and same goes for the Ninja Storm games, so I don't mind this at all. Now generally the games actually do take quite some time to localize, so even if it has been a couple years, this isn't something unheard of with the Yokai Watch franchise. On the flip side, a large portion of their western branch has been laid off, and the branch is currently freezing its work, so perhaps when the pandemic is over, we'll at least get some sort of announcement on the matter, but fingers crossed. Rune Factory was another franchise I had mentioned in the previous video, that being the 5th installment. However, if you want some Rune Factory content right now, Rune Factory 4 Special might be your jam. This fantasy adventure game, much like the sequel, features a lot of day-to-day life stuff such as farming, fishing, building relationships, mini games, and more. The game is basically like an anime sim with monster raising and boss battles, so definitely if you're into more games like that, you can pick it up now. Now, the final game on this list was found by our very own Amaro, whom is clearly the monster taming master because I had never heard of this game, and that's A Lost Child, a monster taming dungeon crawler which seems to be inspired by the Shin Megami Tensei franchise. The game has your main character acting as sort of a chosen one to aid in the upcoming battle between angels and demons, and this conflict is sure to ensue. The game plays from a first-person perspective and features multi-battles, having you to use your own character, another human character, and 3 astrals or monster characters. The game also has evolution mechanics, and the battles themselves play more like SMT games, so you can definitely check it out if it interests you. The only caveat is that I hear it's much easier than any of the Shin Megami Tensei games, so keep that in mind when choosing your difficulty setting. And there you have it, guys, 10 more monster taming games for the Nintendo Switch. Now, I think at this point we got them all. There still might be a few more that exists under the Mon-like category, but as far as the rest of them go, I think we got them. I just wanted to say special thanks to everyone who helped out in putting this list together, and especially Cirque in our Discord, who really helped me with this immensely. That being said, I do plan on doing more of these types of videos. I just want to keep them a little more spread out, as some of the games I've mentioned here are multiple platform releases, so I don't want to be super redundant summarizing the same games over and over again too close to one another. I think every few weeks between these types of videos is good because that way as our audience grows, more people can be introduced to these types of games, and the people that have been watching the videos consistently don't feel like I'm regurgitating the same information over and over again. Anyways, let me know what you'd like to see next. Upcoming PC games, upcoming non-Switch console games, or maybe you want me to go into specific subcategories like upcoming monster taming RPGs or upcoming monster taming roguelites, etc. I'd love to get your guys' opinions on this because there's so many angles that we can take this from, and I honestly really like making videos like this. So yeah, if you guys did enjoy the video, please make sure to like and subscribe for all things monster taming. You can check me out on Twitter at GymLeaderEd and join our monster taming Discord because it's a lot of fun. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.